the Batman.
Am I right? Let's get into it.
Before we jump into today's video, we want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon. Your continued support has turned this channel into a family. If you'd like to be part of the crew and have access to exclusive content as well as live streams, go to www.patreon.com/whatwewatchin to sign up today. Now, on to the show.
So,
I thought it was great overall.
I liked it.
I liked it.
It gave me a horror movie.
Yes.
It gave me very intense action. It gave me, not comparing at all, but reminiscent to Christian Bale's Batman.
Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very dark.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yes.
Was it a little too long?
It was long.
It was
For me,
I think it was so long because, they put 3 villains in the movie.
the length was necessary.
Yeah.
It was.
So I'm not going to say that I disliked it, but
It was just long.
knowing the person that I am, I fall asleep in the movie theater. It never failed. I took about 5 naps. I don't think I missed like the meaty stuff of the movie, but I definitely got a little cat nap a couple times.
Yeah. But I think, like you said, with as many characters as they wanted to put in it, having the Riddler, having Penguin, having Falcone in there, 3 like big villains to my knowledge for Batman.
And then also developing Catwoman.
And then
story.
also, it was just
They needed the time.
They needed the time.
Yeah.
But I think they did it well.
For sure.
I think so too.
I would definitely watch it again.
Oh, totally.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think I would definitely want to watch it again. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't have high expectations of it because I don't watch too many Robert Pattinson movies other than Twilight. That was like the only thing I've ever really seen him in. So I wasn't sure how he would do as Batman. But he did. I think he did
really
well.
I think Robert Pattinson as an actor has surprised me. You really have to watch stuff outside of Twilight because he does. I think I've maybe only seen 2 or 3 other things, but in those things he was really good, and it wasn't like I didn't feel like I was watching.
Edward.
Edward. I was watching the character that
100%.
Yeah, so I think unfortunately for him, some people still see him in that Twilight light, and hopefully this will help him get out of that because I do think he's really good.
Yeah, I think he held his own on this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like that when it started with the narration of him talking, there was some parts where his voice was deep, but it wasn't like a caricature. It wasn't bad.
He was just talking low.
That was what I was most nervous about because, well, Ben Affleck.
Right. He was better than Ben Affleck.
Yes. And I think easily. I think both of their Batmans are completely different.
Absolutely.
Yes. But I liked how they did this storyline. I really did. I felt like, even like with Christian and Ben, I felt like those were like older Batmans or like mid-age Batmans. And this one felt like a more youthful one.
He'd only been Batman for 2 years, according to the story. So it's probably very early in the life of Bruce Wayne as an adult.
Right.
I don't know what age he was supposed to be in the movie, but I do get that. I got that he was just like a somewhat young guy out here doing his thing. Yeah, I really liked it. I was pleasantly surprised. Like you said, I went in with absolutely no expectations. I knew that I was going to watch it. I knew that I wanted to look at it for what it was and not have any kind of like holding on to stuff that I'd seen in other Batman movies.
Right.
I went into it with a fresh eye, and I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yes. I would definitely rewatch this.
Oh gosh.
I'd probably watch it at home.
Oh yes, at home.
Yeah.
It was long.
So I could like tuck in, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, I would definitely watch it again.
This makes me want to know more about Batman and his villains because I want to know if there were like little Easter eggs that I didn't catch.
Right.
So I'm interested in that. And
I'm curious, I don't know if y'all know how close to the comics this Batman is. If the other Batmans that we've seen are more the comic stories or this is true to the actual like character Batman.
I guess maybe just the different versions. I feel like they probably have had different renditions of Batman throughout the years. There's probably been one that was more I don't know, campy, and then one that was probably dark, depending on who was writing for it at this time.
Right.
Oh yeah, I forget that they do not necessarily take liberties with the character, but the same character can be a different mood.
Yes. I thought there was going to be, like, I don't know, watching the trailer, we knew Riddler was, like, I guess the main villain.
The main guy, yeah.
But we got a peek of Penguin, too, and I thought Penguin was going to have a bigger role. But I feel like this set him up to maybe have a bigger role in the next movie. Because it seems like, you know, at the end, he might be trying to take over. But I still was just, like, trying to find Colin Farrell in there. It's like, I know it was him.
There were a couple of times where I was like, I see you, Colin. I see. But then also I was like, damn, that's Colin.
When he first popped on the scene, I was like, Joe Pesci?
No. No.
He gave me a little Joe Pesci, reminded me of somebody else. I was just, I mean,
The
he
gold
did good. That was it. It just reminded me of those, like, those type of characters. But I thought he was really good as Penguin.
Oh,
A
he
little
totally
bit that we
was.
had him.
As an actor by himself, I fully enjoy pretty much everything I've ever seen him in because he completely embodies that character.
Oh, God, yes.
It's not Colin being this person.
Right.
Method.
It is it for sure. 100%. I'm like, he probably walked around in that makeup and that get-up prior to filming.
I remember seeing him in the street.
Excellent job with that makeup.
They did.
Yes.
Excellent.
It looks so
just
good.
from the lines in his face to the scarring on his face and on his lip.
Even he had the little jowl thing underneath here, and it looked like real. I was like, y'all really okay?
They did
They
great.
spent the coins on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm trying to remember the other actor, the actor that played Falcone.
Totoro.
John Turturro, thank you. I was like,
I made sure to look at that name on the credits.
Yes.
I'm like, I know him.
I know him.
I know him. Forget it.
I think I love him in everything he's in.
Oh, he's
too.
great.
He's so good.
He's great.
Good.
So
He's
good.
good.
I mean, he almost had me believing that Merlin was the one who took out his
that
daddy.
was believable.
I was like, oh my, he really
And
did
I
like
think at one point
he
I was
did
like,
like Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, they grew up as kids together. They were best friends.
That whole
one,
story.
One was the wrong way. One
Yeah.
was right. You know.
Like, but you from the
It's
neighborhood, so I
believable.
got you.
No.
Lies.
Not
I mean,
at
some
all.
true, but lies.
Yes.
And then
Thomas Wayne. I mean, I might be jumping around.
No,
Thomas
go ahead.
Wayne not being on the up and up.
I think
It feels like he was. He just
was. like Alfred said, he made a mistake.
he made a mistake or
And
just a bad
He
judgment.
made a bad judgment. He
And-
did something wrong to protect someone he loved.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just necessarily like I'm going to be corrupt because I want this. It was I've got to do something to help my wife. I'm willing to sacrifice my reputation to protect her.
Right.
And in doing that, it kind of just set this.
Well, because it
this thing
seemed
in
like
motion.
Falcone did what he wanted to do, and Thomas Wayne was like, I didn't want you to kill that guy.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to maybe put the pressure on him to or
Should've.
pay him
But
off.
like Alfred said, you knew who you were talking to.
Yes.
You should have known.
Should have known. But he was gonna do something about it.
But he was naive, so it means he was good. He was good and naive.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
put wrong faith in the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shouldn't have told him I'm gonna tell the police. He should have just went
Right,
straight to him.
keep that to yourself. People be
Don't
playing
tell
their
me.
hands.
Don't tell the bad
He
guy.
just killed somebody for you.
Hello?
You're gonna go to jail for that? No.
Why would you think he wouldn't kill you?
Right.
I have to say, the beginning scene where you see the mayor, and I forget the mayor's name. Mitchell, yes. When you see him in the house with the kid, and I thought,
Yes.
oh, this is like the beginning of the Waynes.
I'm thinking it's Wayne.
That's
At
what I
first, too,
thought.
I thought it was Wayne, too.
And then also first, I thought that was a real ninja up in there. And like at first, and then when I saw him get up, I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, it's Halloween.
Yeah.
When he did the little slice,
Yeah.
I was like, dang, he did
I was like,
it.
wow, that's how they took out the
That's
Wayne.
how they kill him.
Wow.
I was with you.
I was not. I was full on that as a kid.
I was like, he just short.
Yeah.
No. What is this?
You know, I just saw
That's funny.
Peacemaker and saw the green
Exactly.
guy. You know, I was like, hey, they come in
That's
all
funny.
sizes.
They come in all sizes.
But his murder was brutal.
Man.
When listen, okay, it was darkness.
Yes.
Oh my
He was in
gosh.
there watching that TV. He moved to the side.
And that
was
thing
standing there.
popped up.
jump.
Oh, see, and at first I was confused because he was standing so still. I was like, oh, is he a villain and that's his costume behind him? Like hanging up?
No.
Because
never.
Like,
who was that?
He was watching the debate
news,
that
yeah.
and at first the lady that was running against him said that, we have a Caped Crusader. So I was thinking, we're not talking about Batman yet. It's somebody else. So this guy's either a villain or he's a Caped Crusader. And that's his costume right behind him. And that's why he's just walking on nonchalant. Not that there's a presence in the room with you, sir.
And he don't feel
and
it.
the entire time.
Something ain't right.
I was like, oh.
That immediately was
and I was
okay,
like, and you don't feel like that somebody's right behind you.
All that time, I just don't get it.
Like, you walk and you don't know peripheral vision, nothing.
Like, I know it was dark, but you didn't get no type of reflection. There was no light.
With me, I can feel a presence.
Hell
if
yeah.
too close to me, whether or not I'm paying attention, you can feel like an aura.
Something.
And I'm like, how do you not?
Nothing.
It was that liquid he was drinking. It dulls your senses. Got to stay sharp, stay aware.
I'm always prepared.
But the way,
that's
the way he went to attack him, though.
He didn't scream.
I kind of laughed.
I like it too.
Because I was like,
there
wait.
were some comedic moments in this film.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Total.
Not definitely was. Just
I was like, wait, what? Who is this guy?
Wow.
But his little riddles were good.
His riddles
They
were good.
Really good. Just the whole. I don't want to keep saying that it was so good because it's just good.
It was good.
But it was just like his whole mystique and the way he was planting the clues and how he was getting his victims and the way that he was setting up their deaths and stuff like that. I'm like, you are a genius.
What he did to the commissioner.
My God.
I was happy that they didn't show us.
Yeah, because I couldn't take it.
But I also was sad they didn't show us.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I was like, I like Saw, so I was like,
Very
God.
I was like,
Very
how are we
true.
doing
No,
this?
I'm glad.
And then we didn't get it, and I was like, okay, it was gonna be too graphic. Okay, cool. Because I would have been like this too,
But when they did the DEA guy, the freaking bomb around his
Tulsa.
neck,
I felt really
full
bad
on.
because first when he first got him in the car, I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was gonna kill him at that moment, and then when he got into the church and he made him answer the questions, I thought at the end he was really gonna give it up at the last second, and he was just like, no.
It's going to the grave with me.
Yeah.
And it did. That was intense. I was like, Robbie face gone.
He lucky.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, he lucky Batman was there
like,
with him to help him answer those riddles.
Yeah.
Because
he would have been dead.
he knew nothing.
1, 2, 3.
And I just thought it was hilarious when Batman kept asking him questions, and he's like, he didn't ask me that.
He's like, I'm not about to incriminate myself. I know the law. He's
Because
like,
I think at the end of it, or in that moment, he still thought that he was going to get out. So
Yes.
it was like, I'm gonna hold some stuff to my chest now. I can't give you everything. I'm answering what A, B, C, or D.
Right.
I'm gonna say that.
He's
And
a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. He knows.
He knows.
Ask what was answered.
My
Do
guy
not
said,
provide it anymore.
Shh. The whole Candyman thing. Don't say
Don't do
that.
that.
Don't say that. Don't hush.
but that whole church scene though too was just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard the commotion from outside, and you didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And that car just came through, and I was like, those people that were outside,
Right.
Yeah.
Like, where did you come from?
I didn't catch. Okay, Mitchell. I didn't catch what his child's name was, but
Wait, who's Mitchell?
the mayor.
Okay.
But they kept showing Bruce looking at that
The
child,
little boy.
the little boy, and I know that was supposed to be kind of. Well, I feel like it's reminiscent of how he felt
Him.
in his, but I'm also just like,
Who you gonna
Robin?
become?
Are you Robin?
Oh.
If they keep this going, could he be Robin later on? I know in the Christian Bale ones, they had the other police officer become him, but I don't know what the true story is.
But I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt was an orphan as well, in that, like, he was obviously an adult at that point, but he had kind of come up through the orphanage too, I think.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember how far I got in Titans when they had him, when they were trying to explain a little bit of Robin's past. And all we just know is that Batman took him in, I think, because he was an orphan as well.
Yeah.
So,
he was in the circus, and I think all his parents died or something like that. And he either went to an orphanage or somehow Batman saw him and adopted him or something.
yeah, he's like he
that.
felt bad for him or something. So me just seeing that, I was like, y'all setting up stuff.
I mean, he still got his mama, so
That's true.
True,
I
for
forgot
now.
she died.
he didn't die.
For now.
For now,
Right.
he still got her.
I feel like these villains were really, really good villains. I think that they were written well. How the actors portrayed the characters was really, really good. I want to know more about them. I mean, well, Falcone is dead now, so that's that.
Yeah.
But
where is
he? He gone.
he? That shot in the shoulder.
He did, but people be. I don't know how bullet holes work. I mean, gunshots work.
I mean, unless it hit a major artery.
It was up in here.
It was up in here. Was it on the
I
left
just
side?
know
It was
the
on the
blood
right
got in
side.
his face.
Yeah, because it was splatter.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know exactly where it hit.
It was on the right.
It was on the right.
So what's over here?
Artery. I mean, that's the only thing I can be like that would
I'm
took him
gonna say
out.
he gone.
Depending on how, maybe it went like this, you know. Who knows how it went into the body.
JFK? Magic bullet?
No, I'm just saying, you know,
No,
depending on
they do
the
travel.
position of
They
your
do
body.
travel.
Trajectory.
Yeah,
you
know,
that's
where it went.
It
No,
could.
traveling. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was Magneto. I don't know. That's how he got him in, what you call it?
Get out.
Don't be mad.
Get out.
Anywho.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh,
There
I
was-
remember. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, there were parts where I was forgetting like all the villains that were in the movie because they would focus like on one and they focus on another, and then I'd be like, wait a minute, we haven't talked about the Riddler in
And
here.
like, what's he doing? Where
What's
he at?
going
Like,
on?
you still got this.
Because it was like they were resolving the thing with Penguin, and then it was like
That was hilarious when they tied him up and he was walking like that was hilarious.
I said,
I loved it.
you better waddle.
I loved it so much.
He had them little heels on, little kitten
Uh-huh.
heels. I said,
He
look
said,
at you.
hey, you know I'm still here, right?
Bye.
Good
We
luck.
out.
I don't care about you.
We out.
but yeah.
I mean, I guess in the other Batman movies, they didn't really focus a lot on, who is Jeffrey Wright's character?
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon. They didn't really...
Well, just Gordon.
Gordon at that point, yeah. But I don't know if they really focused a lot on him in the other movies either, but I kind of wanted more
At least
from him.
for one of the Dark Knight movies,
Yeah.
one of Bale's, I feel like we got more of him in there. Maybe in the Dark
Gary
Knight.
Oldman. Yeah.
With Gary Oldman. And this was a question I was wondering. I don't know in the comic books if it's a Commissioner Gordon thing or a police thing, but he just didn't seem that smart.
No.
And it kind of annoyed me, and I don't know if that was just because Batman and the Riddler need to be smarter, and it just made me feel like he should know
I
some
didn't catch
stuff.
that.
At least like in the beginning with the Riddle, it's very much more like, what do you think it is? What is this?
Well, I think
Just
also
like-
because the Riddler was leaving clues for Batman to figure it
Yeah.
out. So he's like, hey, dude, what is he talking about? I don't know this crazy dude.
Yeah.
So I think he was pretty much just relying on his knowledge
Mm-hmm.
of, these...
Is he a detective at this point?
I'm thinking he was
I think he was a detective,
Detective.
right?
Right. So I don't know. I guess I wanted him to be more of like taking the lead or saying more. It just felt like he relied at some points too much on Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting. Where was your detective skills?
Yeah.
You know.
But I also feel like an actor on the caliber of Jeffrey Wright, they should have used him more.
And I think that's why I'm
And it's like
irritated.
if you weren't going to use him, utilize him more and his abilities more, then get somebody else that we don't necessarily know and let them be an accessory, character.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, he can still have a part, and that I'm not saying that person can't be as good as an actor, but I feel like Jeffrey's up here, and I just wanted more from him.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I mean, I thought it was good. I thought he was shown a lot and showcased a lot and did well.
Yeah.
I think it was just a different role for him, and I enjoyed it that much. So,
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that, what y'all are saying.
But Zoe did amazing.
I liked her character.
I liked her character.
I feel like it was the perfect balance between like being this alluring sexual like feminine character but also being very strong, very independent, very much I can get ish done by myself and I don't need Batman's assistance, or like I don't necessarily, I can get myself into jams, but I can also get myself out of those same
and she
jams.
wasn't like overtly sexual.
No. Although when she tossed them hips,
Hello?
Oh yes, she did.
And I didn't really understand why they needed to be. And maybe that's in the comic books. Are they like a couple? But I didn't understand why these two characters needed to be romantic.
I think it does happen a few times,
Mm-hmm.
and I do believe when Michelle Pfeiffer played Catwoman, I think she did.
Well, yeah.
I think that did happen.
I'm just like the energy that the two brought to their characters. I didn't feel like it was a natural progression for them to like kiss when they kissed and all that kind of stuff. But maybe I missed something.
You took a nap during that part.
After.
I think it was the combination of him at first accusing her of having a relationship with Falcone, and then Falcone.
We got you.
And then realizing that he was actually her father and he didn't do shit for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that kind of like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Brought them
together.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Felt like they had enough chemistry to make it work in this movie, and then to maybe make it grow toward, especially at the end when they left.
That was wild. I'm like, y'all so cute.
Y'all are so cute. Y'all racing
that.
each other at the end. But that was a really cool twist. Her being Falcone's daughter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting that. Especially how they interacted the first time we saw him when he came into the club. I was just kind of like, why are you touching her face?
He didn't know.
He doesn't know.
He didn't know. Remember at the end, she called him dad. And he was like, what? And she was like, I'm Maria's.
Oh, that's right. In the when she was telling Batman the story, she said that her mom told her. I think my assumption was her mom told him.
I think they made it feel that way too. I thought that too until she said.
So I just assumed that he had already known. That's why I was like, why was he touching her like that? That's nasty. That's your baby. But he didn't know.
He didn't know.
But Paul Dano as the Riddler.
Claps.
Yeah. He did so well. He's an amazing actor. But he did.
He was
so
creepy.
well.
He was scary. He was a little funny.
Yes.
He was awkward. He was everything you would expect a person who has those kind of ideologies
all
to
that
be.
before we even saw his face.
Before we even, I mean, granted from the trailers we knew who he was going to be,
yes.
but
still,
it was like in a
From
mask.
the trailer, I don't even remember from the trailer. I think I only watched that trailer once.
And they showed that scene of him getting arrested. Yeah.
But
And so I was like, that gotta be him. Gotta be the Riddler.
But even like once they finally caught him and he was at Arkham, he was so good there.
Yes.
No.
that took me out.
It's like you can tell that the character was this tortured person inside their own mind. I had this plan. Like he's completely outside of reality.
Yes.
In a sense. You know what I mean?
Because he was like, you helped me. You did this. And
Hello?
That was like, wait, are you trying to set me up? No, I didn't.
First of all,
I didn't. No.
I just met you today.
It was
I don't
as if
even
it
know
was
your
like
name.
we were equal in this.
And
I thought we were working together.
We have an understanding. We go after these people that are corrupt, who are dangerous.
I feel like Batman was like, they got a camera here. No,
Hello?
it wasn't me.
Incriminating.
I never helped him. Y'all know I was helping you.
It was so funny because when he was telling them the story about the orphanage and he said Bruce Wayne, and he was like,
scared.
"Oh, you're about to
Wait,
reveal my
wait.
identity."
He was all like,
Like,
He looked
don't
and saw
look
that
directly in
camera
my
and he was
eyes.
like, "Oh my god!" But then when he was like, "Wait,
we
he's
didn't
not
get him.
gonna
He was
reveal
like,
my
oh.
identity."
That's when he buffed up and was
Yeah.
like, all right, I can get you now because
Right.
you're not about to scream my name.
Yes.
You would think that, based off of when they went to his apartment, that he figured it out.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
kinda
the
expected
message
to do
that
it.
he wrote on the thing, he was like, what do you say? I know who you really
I
are, or
know,
something like that.
I know who the real you.
Yeah, no, the real
I know the real you.
Something like that. And I was like, so Bruce.
And he kept having pictures of him.
Exactly.
And it's like underlined. So it's like,
he got you.
Mm-hmm.
He did not. He did not have him.
No.
Mm-mm.
He was
Unless
just
he
mad at
did,
him.
and he just didn't reveal it.
Because you would think, because I think he mentioned, like, we got everybody but Bruce or something like that. So whatever that line was that he said, I thought he was putting the pieces together in that moment. Like, okay, I got everybody else that easily. You were the only one that evaded me.
Yeah.
How is that possible? You got to be Batman.
Yeah.
You ain't never seen him in
Or
the
it
same
could,
place at the same time.
it could be a thing of, I know the real you, and he said, the person who was in front of me, this is the real you. And I didn't get to kill Bruce.
Yeah.
I didn't get to kill that other part of you.
Interesting.
Maybe something like that. I don't know.
I can go with
Or you're not necessarily this vigilante saving the city, like doing good. You're out to kill people for vengeance, just like I'm out to kill people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
that. It was funny to me, the newly elected mayor, when she talked to him at the funeral, and she was like, you know, your family has this history, this legacy of being like philanthropists and humanitarians, and you were just out here doing nothing.
Right.
And I was like,
you know,
oh honey,
you just
the
put your
best
foot in your mouth.
Yes.
And also was like, are you trying to make him feel guilty? He's actually trying his best here. He can't be everywhere.
I don't think I knew that Bruce's mom was Arkham. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a real thing, or is that just something they did for this movie? I don't know.
Because when they said Arkham, I was like the asylum. I
Yeah.
said, oh, that's her people.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it makes sense because from
If
what
she
they
was in
said,
there.
She was in there.
So that it makes sense for them to own it.
Or name it after her. Something.
Yeah. But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, her mom killed her dad.
Dark. Batman is sad.
Like, sad history.
And she was a little off.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The way this film ended, though, with the Riddler blowing up those vans.
Blowing the daggone city.
When he was talking to Batman in jail about what his plan was, and Batman was trying to figure it out, I was like, oh my god, all those cops are still in that apartment. He's about to blow up that apartment.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Yes.
That is what, and I was like, not Jeffrey.
He was like, I got you here for us to be safe, and he just meant from the flood.
From the flood, yeah. But that was why I said that's probably one of my worst nightmares.
Right?
Because where do you go?
I immediately was like, this turned into Poseidon real quick.
Real fast.
My
Day
God.
after tomorrow.
Daylight, all of them.
So I was like, damn, that's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they were like,
it just went
here, and it just kept coming, and then the fact that it got into
the garden.
Mm-hmm. Man.
I'm like, it was a brilliant plan though to get all those people in, because they had no place else to go.
Right.
He knew everybody was going to be out in the streets, either out in the streets or in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're in the street, the only other place you can go is there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to pick y'all off one by one.
This is the thing that's messed up though. They found his apartment, right? Found that message, and would have had time if they could have figured out the code to get in there.
True.
They couldn't get the code to see what his plan was to warn everybody until it was too late.
But I'm curious if anybody else besides Batman would have been able to figure that out. Would have been able to connect the dots, because I mean, so I will say that they really did make the cops stupid in this movie, because it's like they had the evidence there. If you have the realization that Mitchell had no carpet in his apartment or his house or whatever, like, why would you have this, whatever that tool was?
I don't think they even knew what it was, right?
I don't think they figured out what it was.
Yeah.
And they just had the evidence just sitting there in his house. Like, are you not taking it to the police
That's
station?
what I was like,
why
is it still there?
It's just sitting. I don't understand how police works.
Right. Forensics, I would have thought they would have collected the evidence and loaded it in the van and then take it into the station.
And also, I'm like, Batman, you used the murder weapon.
That too.
I'm like, you just showed us that you can take the little Batman off your chest. You couldn't have done that to rip the carpet up. Like,
no. But it's like, at the end of the day, they already knew who it was, and like, I don't know if they needed that evidence that much.
I guess, but it's still just,
it's procedure.
True.
Yeah,
it's procedure.
I had a nerve to be like, should he be here? I mean, chain of evidence, and he was like, he's wearing gloves.
Now that you mention that, I'm a little upset. Because discrimination. You just didn't want him there because it's Batman. You don't give a damn about procedures. You don't care nothing about what does the book say that we're supposed to do when we walk into a crime scene.
Oh my God.
You just didn't want him there.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But, you know, Batman, he was there when they first found his computer and saw that. So it's like, even if he would have been smarter, like the Riddler said, and figured it out then, they could have probably saved everybody. Mm-hmm. But
I'm trying to remember what made him leave in the first place to go see him because he had asked for him. Really.
Yeah, he asked.
He called and asked for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's true. Maybe he didn't have enough time to really look at it either to figure it out.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, dude, you didn't give him enough time for him to look through it. You called him out really fast.
He probably called him out because he was like, oh, he already knows what's going down. I'm going to save him. Yeah. Because we're a team.
That's what he said. Yeah. He said, I brought you here
we're a team.
to protect you. It's insane the amount of people that was following him.
Yes.
Like, because that's, like, real.
Yes. Those pockets of society exist today, right now. They're on the blogs and in the chats, typing and talking and plotting. Mm-hmm. It's scary.
I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed that. Well, it's kind of weird to say. I enjoyed what the Riddler was trying to do.
You know what? I 100%. I understand the motivation. I get it because Falcone like they said, he was the mayor of Gotham for 20 years.
20, 30 years.
He was at 20.
Freaking twist in that too. I mean, you're the rat.
You're the
rat.
Whole time.
The
whole time. Crazy.
And he was like, he doesn't work for us. We work for him.
I don't know what you don't understand, sir.
He runs this town.
He's in charge of everything. Dictatorship.
It's just, oh my god, the fact that there was no oversight to
the freaking the
renewal.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
And nobody's monitoring.
And they were just like, oh, he's gone. Let's just take a shot. For me, for you.
I don't even know how that works. Like, how do you even get into the books? Who is the bookkeeper? How you get into the account and get the money out?
Aren't you supposed
to in charge?
And you think like the news would have been paying attention to that, or the news didn't care, the media didn't care.
The whole point of that fund was to help the city, right? Or the orphanage.
The orphanage, yeah.
The orphans ain't being helped.
Right.
Why are we not talking about this?
Right. And that's when what the Riddler said. The money was for the orphans who were struggling, and then Thomas Wayne dies, and everybody's like, "Oh, poor little rich boy."
I get it.
Excuse me?
I get it. Listen, I love the way certain stories can be told from the other side, the other perspective, and you be like, you got a point.
You got a point.
Right.
You're crazy, but you got a point.
Yeah.
You might be a little fanatical. However,
was a well-rounded villain.
100%.
Yes.
This wasn't just,
it wasn't
I'm evil
irrational,
and I just want to fight Batman. No, there is a reason for why he's going against him, why he's causing a ruckus, why he's a villain. Because people can relate to him.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous and scary.
It's very dangerous. Just how, like, people were, what was that movie, like, your dad was like, oh, y'all shouldn't go, was it The Purge? That he was, like, worried about us going to see because there was some controversy, like, there was some movie that came out in the last couple of years that people were like, don't
and he was like, he told us not to go see it.
Yeah, because it was like, it might raise up, it might cause society to whatever. I'm like, this is one of those kind of movies. If you look at it from a different perspective, you could be like, all right.
Or was it the Joker?
The Joker.
That's what it was.
Because I was like,
that's what it was.
It was the Joker. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes more sense now because the character he was and stuff. Yeah.
The Joker.
So yeah, people were concerned about going to see that movie.
Speaking of the Joker.
Let's get to it.
Was that the Joker in the cell next
It was. It was.
That laugh.
That laugh. At first when he popped up, I saw like his face and kind of had like this, it looked like his mouth was like really deformed at first. So I was like, I immediately saw Joker, but then I saw you whisper like, you were doing like this, like Two-Face, because we just saw the side of his face and it looked a little disfigured and I was like, ooh, yes. I changed my mind completely. But then we saw more of his face and he started talking more and then he did that laugh and I was like, no,
it's gotta be Joker. It's gotta be the Joker.
And now I'm like, who's the actor playing the Joker? I need to look that up.
So I meant to look up if I could find like if Robert was signed up for like a deal or something like a movie deal, you know what I mean? To see if they were in the works or if they're maybe just trying to see how this one does first. Yeah. Before they
I hope they do more.
Decide more.
I hope this one did well in the box office enough for them to be like, hey, we made money, let's go ahead and make another.
Because they clearly left it open-ended to do more. And, they had that end credit scene where they said goodbye, and then something flashed up so quick that I'm like, okay, I'm going to go watch somebody's video that breaks it down and tells me what it is. You rock stars, I'm looking at you. Okay. I know you got it.
We know y'all got it.
You always have
the inside scoop.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's room for at least one more, and I would definitely sign up to see one more.
Yeah. I know that when this first got out that Robert Pattinson was taking over Batman, it was, is he going to be in the Justice League or is he going to be a standalone by himself? And I don't know how that would work if they could easily just bring him in or another universe. I don't know, because they have the Flash movie coming out where we're supposed to get, it seems like he has his own multiverse thing happening there, that maybe somehow they bring him in this way, but I would be okay if they tried to go that route and bring him into whatever the DCEU, whatever they call their universe, I would be okay if they tried to bring that in.
Yeah.
I feel like I would want at least one more solo Batman
before they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only because he has a lot going on in Gotham to be involved with no Justice League now. He got to clean up in the backyard and the front yard first.
Mean, are we gonna get Poison Ivy?
Right.
Oh, I want some Poison Ivy.
I would love who would.
Yeah. No Justice League for him.
Give us another one.
Give me some more.
Just let Batman be by
himself.
himself.
Build this guy up because I feel like he's young enough. Like I said, we've had these older. Or like I said, we felt like we've had these older Batmans. Mm-hmm. He seems young enough. I feel like they're kind of like doing like a fresh start,
right?
Mm-hmm. To really have us go through these villains. So the next movie, we don't have to have a lot of villains. You can save some for another film. So I want to see Scarecrow. I want to see Poison Ivy. We're gonna see the Joker. We don't need all three in the next movie. Just focus on one or two and bring in more. Like I don't even know all of the villains for Batman. I mean, obviously we got to get Bane again too, so that's another one. Mr. Freeze, I guess. There's so much to do. Yeah. So I think they did really well. They chose a really good actor to play this and to have a new take on it. Mm-hmm. I think they could have longevity here with this one. They can get a couple films out of this.
If it's left up to me, I would say yes.
Yeah.
If I had to vote and my vote was the one that mattered, we would get more.
Oh, totally.
We would definitely get more. Robert, you did your thing. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you.
Very happy.
I don't know you, but I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing. He was getting on my nerves with his attitude towards Alfred.
Oh, First of all,
I was
disrespect.
That's your daddy, okay?
Yeah.
That's
Might
your
as
daddy.
well be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really wanted Alfred to be and say, look, I'm so sorry that your daddy is gone. But I have been here for you, and you're not going to keep disrespecting me.
Okay.
Because I tell everybody about this shit. I ain't going to tell them.
Tell
But I leave.
Yeah.
Shoot.
The way, when he gave him his cufflinks, he was like, see, I'm still caring for you. Because you still need to keep up appearances before people start trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with you. Here are these cufflinks. What, pretty much what the hell are you doing with this? Mm-hmm. You're not a Wayne.
He said, are you a Wayne? He said, your dad gave this to me.
Do you feel like crap now?
Feel like
asshole?
Crap. But then also, when he was in the hospital, and the first thing out of his mouth was, why didn't you tell me? Why'd you lie to me? You lied to me my whole life about my dad.
Can he reorient himself?
Not like I'm happy that your eyes opened again.
Oh my God, you're awake. You're okay.
I'm glad that you're still here.
You're alive.
Living.
No.
I almost lost you.
Immediately, me.
That's it.
Dude.
And then I fell asleep. When they was holding hands. I woke up, they were still holding hands.
So you didn't miss much. It was real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that irritated me. I was like, man, come on.
Because I don't know if any of the other Batmans have ever disrespected Alfred that way. And I don't appreciate it.
No, they might get a little snippy with him in a moment, but never disrespect like that.
But going back to your point, it could be because he's a younger Batman. And that's what I was about to say. He's a younger Batman. He needs more time to come into his own. He's only been doing this for 2 years. Mm-hmm. He needs more time to come into his own and understand how much of an asset Alfred is to him. Mm-hmm. Not just you get my breakfast in the paper.
Exactly.
And you set up my meetings or whatever.
You know what? I appreciate that this wasn't an origin story.
Yes.
That it was just, let's just jump right into this.
Hell yes.
I feel like every other Batman that I've seen, it starts with his parents dying, and then he's a
have
kid.
To see all of
you
that.
Gotta go into the cave you fall into the well with the bats and blah blah blah.
Yes, I'm glad that they didn't go through
Which
that.
I can appreciate the opening scene now with the kid, and because it's not him, it's just kind of mirrors. Mm-hmm. It's like.
Yes, and that's one thing too. I just love at the beginning. It just got right to it. Murder immediately. Not let's figure out that these two are running against each other. Right. And let's figure out that he was involved in crime, and now it's just dead guy.
I like that whole reveal of the whole system that they were doing.
Like the master. Like yes.
Because it was like,
it made you feel. Okay, so I know that I say a lot, tell us what's going on, but leave them in mystery, da-da-da. I know I say that a lot, but I love the fact that we were finding out stuff as Batman was finding out stuff. Mm-hmm. We were discovering things as, the people in the story were discovering things. That was more fun in this situation for me. Because it was like, what? But you had me believing the whole time that it was this way.
And, there was, I forget, I think when they first started telling the history of stuff, I think, with his... telling about his dad, his mom, the wife was crazy, and so then he did this. At first I was like, that's weak. Like, I don't like that. And so I like when Alfred cleared things up. He was like, no, it wasn't about him. It was, he wanted to protect your mom.
Your mom, yeah.
He didn't want her to have to go through that, so he's like, I'm willing to do this. So I like that story better than, I don't want the shame of my wife's past
to ruin my...
Yeah, I was like, I was like, you killed a dude for that. All this is because of that. That's
what also made it more, like, it, because I didn't know any other reason, it made it more believable. Like, wow, you wasn't about nothing. Yeah. I can't believe this whole time.
Right. So I was like, so you've been involved more with Falcone than just this.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I liked that they changed it up and did that. And then also we got more of the reveal from the Riddler's story of, they cared more about you, this rich little white boy, than the people that were actually suffering. And I was like, I like that he said there was like layers. They kept peeling stuff and saying this is what it is.
Oh my God, the layers. Even like the part where, like with Batman and Falcone's relationship of him seeing his dad take this bullet out of him when he was a kid, and then him going to Falcone to get this truth about what happened, and he seemed to believe it.
Yeah.
Seemed to believe it until Alfred said, no.
That ain't it.
It's interesting that he was so willing to believe him in that moment and not think he was lying to him. He was willing to accept it and not question it. Which is sad.
Yeah. And maybe it's because the sins of your father from Riddler.
He was just too...
He was focused on that.
Yeah.
And anybody could have told him anything about his dad at that point.
And I mean, I guess what he had... from what the Riddler had revealed up to that point had been true. So why would I not believe him in this situation just because it's my dad? You know what I mean? Like, the evidence was there for everybody else.
Overall, just really good. Like we said, a lot of characters, a lot going on, but it all made sense and worked well together.
Yeah, I don't feel like anything, although I said what I said about Jeffrey Wright and his position in the movie, or how I felt about his position in the movie. I don't feel like anyone was unnecessary.
Right.
I feel like everyone who was in the movie and who were main fixtures in the movie were needed for the story to be what it was.
Yes.
And for it to be as good as it was. Yeah.
I think
the action. Can we just pause for a minute and talk about this Batmobile? Now, I don't know nothing about no cars, but baby, that thing was sexy.
It was nice.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
That thing booted up and it stalled for a second. I'm like, okay, wait now. You need to tune up, alternator, whatever it's going on. I don't know what's happening, carburetor. But when it got going, it was going.
When you first heard it, I was like, wait, is he in the car or did he just remote?
I thought he pressed the button
and it started counting because I thought he was still on the ground.
I did too,
and that's why I was like, "Damn, dude, you're fast." I thought, and then I saw his head, and I was like, "Oh, he got in that car."
He in there.
The funniest thing about that is the movie, like you said, it felt kind of long, and I was like, "When are we go see the penguin chase?" And when I had that moment, like, I was like, yes.
But let me tell you, after the penguin chase, I was like, okay, the movie's almost over. Then I was like, no. The Riddler, what the fuck? Yeah. Wait, the movie's almost over. But I was like, no, we haven't figured it out. The Riddler's
figured out. Yes.
I was like, wow.
Part of me wanted to like look at my phone to see what time it was, but I'm like, no, stay in it.
I was too in it to even think
I
about
was only looking for my phone to like figure out when my Target order is gonna be ready, but I didn't look. But yeah.
I thought it was hilarious when he was running from, well, I guess the other he was running from the police, the mob. But remember, he started to fly when he puffed up his and he started flying and stuff like that. And then he tried to use his parachute,
baby,
and it got caught. And that was funny to me because I was thinking watching this movie, I was like, he is just a man.
Literally,
he doesn't have powers. But I'm just like, I'm thinking of like anybody that's any other superhero movie that's like him or has certain powers. Could you imagine in the middle trying to do something and it don't work?
Yes.
Dead or something. Like, could you imagine like when he was trying to walk down the building? What if the rope snapped? You did. So when they did that, I was like, that was for me.
From the first fight when he was fighting in the subway with the painted face people, and they were like, everybody was around him and stuff. That was when I had that thought, like, this is just a dude in a suit. It's just a dude. He ain't been bit by nothing.
Right.
He ain't got no injection of nothing. No. It's just a man.
But that parachute scene. I was like, dude, you're right there.
You're right there.
Why
would you do
that?
Why would you do that?
Come on.
But he ain't had no brakes. He had to slow down.
He had, yeah.
It was just the wrong time.
Where was he gonna go? But that was so funny.
He busted his face. I was like, ha!
And I heard a little bit.
He limped right on.
Yeah, I heard a lot. I heard a lot.
The comedy.
Like I said, there were little moments of comedy in there that were perfect. It wasn't corny.
No.
And it wasn't like some on the nose type, slapstick type thing. You know?
Like some people hate Marvel for that, but I feel like when Marvel does it, it fits well for them, and what DC is doing, what they did in this Batman, works for them.
Yes.
It was great.
And I feel like there is a difference because this movie in particular is very dark.
Yes, it would not make sense to do that.
It didn't need that kind of comedy in it. So just the little bit of like I'm limping off because I'm really hurt, but I got away.
Yeah.
Or you're like in the jail scene with him and Gordon when they're talking about, and they're like, "Who's that dude?" And they're just, I'm like,
"Yeah,
this is so."
I love that because he was in his face like, and then
he's like, "Go to the left, make a right. The door's in the back." Okay.
Who's the guy with the broken nose? That's that fool that be doing this and then
he's a criminal.
Right.
I just hustled with him.
That was perfect. They probably was really thinking like, yeah, he telling him off. You get him. You get him.
When the man said you could have pulled your punch, he said, I did. I was like, huh? Oh, no.
So good.
Oh, so good.
It was good.
It was good.
Excuse me.
I really enjoyed it. So much.
Batmans.
Christian is always going to be number one for me.
So.
Oh,
Okay,
let's be clear. Are you ranking Batmans or are you ranking movies? Those are different,
Batman.
right? Or the same?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, I mean, let's rank
what's the
both.
question?
Let's rank both. What's your favorite? Rank your Batman and then rank your Batman movies.
So, Christian.
Uh-huh.
Robert.
Yeah.
George. And then everybody else. Oh, and then Christian, Robert, Michael Keaton, George, and then everybody else.
Yeah.
Movies. I'm gonna say, is it Batman Begins, the one with Heath?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight
Begins with Liam Neeson.
Okay, so Dark Knight, Batman, I think.
Yeah.
And then the one with Bane.
Dark Knight Rises.
And then everything else.
I
don't care about nothing else.
Because this movie just happened, and he is fresh in my mind.
What?
And I really enjoyed it.
She's going to say it's her favorite.
Think about
it's
your
Top
words.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
Woohoo! As your
Christian
Batman.
Bale. For right now,
Woo!
I'm feeling like...
Controversy.
And but here's the thing, too. Because some people break it up, Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Facts.
Oh, yes.
So...
I like Christian's Bruce Wayne.
I like Christian's Bruce Wayne.
I do like Christian's Bruce Wayne.
Because he was... I don't know how... Like I said, I didn't read the comic book, so I don't know how Bruce is supposed to be.
Right. Because Christian Bale's was like the rich snob. That's the person he wanted to play. Versus Robert Pattinson's is, I'm reclusive.
He's a recluse, yeah.
Like, it was just different. Like I said, this is just so fresh in my mind. I just feel like... And I was just so impressed.
Yeah,
and walked away really happy with it. I think they did DC... They did them right.
Mm-hmm. And
I feel like, they've struggled with some of their movies. This one was just right.
It was
it
was really good.
They just, we talked about everything that we liked in the movie. They just tick things. So right now, it's at my top for Batman and Batman movie because it's been a while since I've watched Christian Bale's films, so they're not as fresh. So I feel like it's like this because this is fresh in my mind. Now, if I go back and watch The Dark Knight, maybe I'll be able to tell them more evenly. But right now, I'm rocking with Pattinson. Okay. I'm rocking with the Batman.
Okay. Respect the.
Respect the.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. Just like there's a difference between Suicide Squad and
the
Suicide Squad.
Let's be
Respect
straight.
the.
Hey. Your choice is your choice.
I don't know. I like Christian Bale's Batman.
Okay.
the most.
Okay.
Because that's a man. I'm sorry. that's a man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And when I first, so you heard me when they first showed Robert his bag.
Yes.
At the time, I was like, ooh.
And I was
but later in the movie, when he was like pushing that table, or whatever, they zoomed out and they saw his whole back. I was like, no, never mind. I take it back. It's just this had fooled me. This part right here had fooled me.
I thought that was an interesting take because I felt like it kind of showed him looking like a bat because of how his shoulder blades protruded like that. I thought that was like really interesting. Because, you know, he wasn't bitten by a bat, so we don't have the powers, you know?
But yeah, Christian is that's I mean, he's a grown ass man. But I would say, because again, I put no high expectations on Robert Pattinson because, again, Twilight was the last movies that I saw of him. I didn't watch any of the other stuff because they just never fell on my radar like that.
You and Cedric Diggory?
Fuck.
But that wasn't the last thing I saw. And to be fair, you watched the Tom Holland movie with us, The Devil.
Yeah, that.
The Devil. Ooh.
Oh yeah. I did watch that.
He was the preacher.
Oh my god,
he was good.
He was good in that role, but my god, he was such a.
I was like, kill him now.
Please,
kill him dead.
Very true. Very true.
Kill him dead.
But even with that, I was still going like, Robert Pattinson is Twilight. But so I didn't put any high expectations on it. And again, also I think Ben Affleck kind of ruined it for me.
He ruined Batman.
He ruined Batman for me, especially the last Justice Leagues and stuff.
Act like he don't exist.
And I try to, but it's just like you hear the voice and it's just like, ugh.
And I used to be like that, but I have given him grace because I do not feel like it's his fault. I feel like he was not given a chance to develop Batman.
You're right.
And so it was what it was. So I give him grace. I give him an asterisk.
Honestly, if they would have given him like his own standalone movie prior to, maybe I would feel differently about the character.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know. Sorry, you finished what you were saying, but I hope I remember what I want to say.
So I think I would put Robert second.
Okay.
I put Michael Keaton third.
I know I stopped at those two and was like, forget it.
Yeah,
I think Michael Keaton's
I think
three
George and Val Kilmer are like this to me, only because I haven't seen theirs.
Yeah,
the
I need to watch Val Kilmer's because I don't remember his movie. I just remember him as Batman.
Yeah.
And because I remember George Clooney's, I'm like, he is last.
And like George Clooney's was more comedic.
They were so
they were campy.
Yes, very
bad.
So, but yeah, I think that's the ranking of the Batmans for me. Christian and then Robert. Yeah. And then Michael, because Michael is classic. And then the movies. The movies. I think Dark Knight holds a special place in my heart because of Heath.
Heath was so good.
Because Heath...
That was his movie.
Heath is going to make me cry. Heath was just... He was the Joker, and he put every single bit of himself into that role. He did. And it was just such a shame how that...
It was tragic.
How that happened.
Tragic.
Because
that
would have he was going to take off even more. So that one just holds a special place for me. And it's only because of him and Christian, honestly. And Gary Oldman. That's it.
Freaking Gary Oldman.
I'm sorry, Gary freaking Oldman. Like, dude, that's my dude. I think the Batman might be my new favorite.
Okay.
Because I honestly, I know the movie was long.
Yeah.
And I was ready for it to end, but also, like, I'm ready to watch it again. I am ready to binge watch it, like, a few
I'm going to go take a real nap, and then I'll be ready.
Yeah. Because, it was long, but it wasn't like, oh, but this movie
exactly.
ended. It was just like, I've been in here for a long time.
So when it ended and I eventually looked at the clock, I was like, oh my god, we've been in here for a long time. But it was necessary.
Yeah. What I was going to say, it was interesting that I feel like in this movie, we saw the least Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
This was heavy
yes.
Batman. And I feel like with all of Christians, we knew who Bruce Wayne was. And all the other ones, you clearly get Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. You said that.
Bruce Wayne's life. Oh, and he's Batman, by the way.
It's kind of like, I would say there was somewhat of an even split between the two. So you get his, but this was a different Batman.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the scene like that anyway, so we probably shouldn't have seen him as that Bruce Wayne.
No, I mean, the fact that, like, he was at the funeral, and then, like, in the next breath, he was in his suit. And it was like...
he was there. It was very inconvenient for him to be there.
Hello?
He was only there because he needed information.
That's it.
If there was no connection there, he wouldn't have gone.
He would not have gone.
So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. I feel like that's when I was saying there's a difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I would say, yeah, Christian would be my favorite. And I was like, but wait, we don't really know who this Bruce Wayne is.
Right.
He's not developed.
We haven't seen him, you know?
Right.
I guess people have been saying he's emo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I said that to myself. When he was walking up the stairs
and
his hair, I was like, God, he's so
sad.
emo.
Yeah, he's just sad. That was just the tone of the whole movie.
Sad.
Everything was dark. I mean, Gotham is a scary place.
And the rain. Holy crap.
It rained every single day, every scene.
That car chase in the rain.
I
was like...
The fact that they could do that in the rain at night.
At night. I was like, I can't see.
I was just like, the danger. I was just like, y'all stay safe. How did y'all do that? To choreograph that whole
When
thing.
Colin brake checked that truck...
Oh,
baby, I was in there squirming.
God.
I said, I can't.
I got
Sometimes when they were
worst.
swerving, I was like, this
my
too.
worst nightmare.
I hate driving in the rain.
Ugh.
But when he was like, I got you.
I love
I
it.
said, baby, you didn't see him fly.
I said, you just wait.
You just wait.
You just wait.
You got nothing.
Oh, so I think what I was going to say is maybe because this is a younger seeming Batman, if they do decide to do more movies, maybe he would fall more into that Bruce Wayne.
I think Alfred
persona.
would get him that way.
Because he still has to run the company. And,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that was one thing I felt like they were going to try to bring in this too, because it seemed like Alfred was trying to tell him, you still have to keep up appearances, like the people are coming here because you have to do something. I thought they were kind of bring that in of him trying to save his company, his dad's legacy that way too, but I don't know if maybe that was like background stuff to think about for a future movie, because it was like there was too much going on to bring
he
that
didn't have time
up.
to be meeting with accountants.
No.
Like, we got crime to fight.
Right.
We got bad guys to kill.
I mean, we're taking out all the major city leaders out of here. We gotta like.
So maybe in the next ones they'll have to address this. You're just using up all your daddy money. It's gonna run out eventually. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if they do go with another movie, maybe in the next one it's about him maybe trying to change the image of his father's.
Yeah, he's got to clean up.
You got to clean up the renewal.
So now
plan.
he's the face of the company. Yeah.
Because I don't remember in any of the other films, or I guess I don't know that much about Batman, but I don't recall his dad trying to be in politics. It was just Wayne Industries, and they didn't really say Wayne Industries in here, other than we have the Wayne family, we have the Arkham family, and then Wayne tried to run for mayor.
That's true.
So I don't know how he has his money.
I do feel like in the other ones he was somehow involved with politics, but like as a donor or something like that. Like as not necessarily I want to be a political figure, but I could be wrong. I might not be remembering that correctly. But I do know that in the other films they really focus on him being a philanthropist. So maybe he wasn't into politics at all.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm doing good for the people and for the city. Yeah,
they got a lot to do. So I'm just like, please don't. I was just thinking Harvey Dent. We got to get Two-Face.
Yeah.
I didn't think we have to, like, there's so much more to do.
I'm so curious what they're going to do with this version.
Film it this year so it comes out next year.
Please and thank you. Robert, you ain't doing nothing.
Oh, one last thing. The contact lenses.
Oh my.
That was interesting. I have never seen anything like that.
No. But ingenious. Great. Because why would you not want video footage of the stuff that you've done? You're interrogating however many people, however many times during the day. you got to keep track of it somehow. My brain can only hold so much.
Which was so interesting when she was in the club and he had her like look at people and it was giving the name their role was. I was like, man, is this gonna be like so much bigger than just what Riddler was taking out? And I guess Riddler had already planned who his targets were going to be. Yeah. So nothing. But I was like, the whole system is corrupt.
Yeah. Oh, when the DA got to, I was like, you're obviously next.
God,
and my thing is like, you knew what was going on. You suspected what was going to happen. Why did you go to that club?
To do the drugs. And to be with the women because it's going to happen anyway.
Just dumb. Like you're in, like all the pictures that he's released were from that location.
Literally.
And that's where you want to go.
Because the drugs and the women.
And he lived across the street the whole time.
The whole time.
He did.
Which
his whole... It I knew that, but it just clicked again.
Yeah.
The whole.
But that was Falcon's place, right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
I thought that was Penguin's club.
Well, I mean, Falcone ran everything, but
true.
Yeah, Penguin's club.
Oh, yeah, that's where they were when he had his office. So I guess it is his.
Yeah.
It is basically.
So I was like, did you know who the rat was all this time? And why couldn't you just have taken him out yourself?
Because
I mean, like
Riddle.
I think he did know. He just had to play this game. It was part of the reveal. He needed Batman involved.
It's like the
unless it was going to help Batman realize what his father's involvement with Falcone was. I don't know.
Maybe.
He needed a way to connect with him.
Yeah.
To get Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
He was so good. Why did he lie? How was that necessary, sir?
Oh my God.
I want to see it again. So,
I think this one deserves some awards for
Yes.
next season.
Yeah. HBO Max, I'm going to need you to put this on stream.
A stabbing ton.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be on HBO Max. I thought it was going to be one of those see it in theaters or see it on HBO Max for a limited time.
Like, give the theaters a week or two, then give it to me. Then give it to me. I don't want to wait no long time.
We might be waiting long. They're going to be like, we're going to get our money.
No, I'm putting it in the atmosphere.
Yeah. 2 weeks. We got it.
Yeah.
Don't be disappointed.
You don't be disappointed.
How am I going to be disappointed?
Because. Just because.
Good job, Robert.
Good job, everybody.
Paul.
The whole theater clapped when the movie was over.
Yeah,
that's how we felt about it.
Yes. And that does not happen in every movie.
No.
And I usually look at people like, you are lame. Why are you clapping in a movie theater? Just like the people who clap when planes land, like, stop it. But this time I was like, I'm with you.
All right. So that was a very lengthy discussion. I don't think I intended to talk that long, but I think
had to be,
once we just started talking,
it was 3 hours, man.
It had to be done. So we hope you all enjoyed the Batman. If you enjoyed the movie, let us know. I want to do something. If you made it to the end of this video,
put some bats in the comments.
Can you do? Is there a bat symbol that you can put
there
in
a
the
bat
comment?
emoji? Maybe.
Or actually, do a question mark. If you made it to the end of the video, please put a question mark in the comments for us.
Yeah.
And then let us know if you enjoyed it or if you didn't like it, and let us know what you thought was wrong with it. After watching this, let us know who's your favorite Batman, who's your favorite Bruce Wayne, and what's your favorite Batman movie. And we will just see y'all in the next review.
Bye.
The Batman. Wait, is that Batman? No, that's Mario.